So last night, Trump was apparently on Sean Hannity, and I was just reading through this transcript of it this morning, and you know what stood out to me was blah, blah, blah. Let's even just look it up. Let's look it up here. There it is. The part where Trump said, oh, you got Marco Rubio. I hear Herschel's name mentioned a lot in Georgia. I hear Laura Trump's name mentioned. He's talking about how he thinks the Republicans might take back the Senate. I hear Laura Trump's name mentioned in South Carolina. Sununu in New Hampshire. I think he can win that race. Apparently, no one has explained to Donald Trump that Chris Sununu is taking talking points from the Democrats and is supporting critical race theory being taught in the classrooms. Maybe no one's explained it to Trump. Maybe no one cares. But I got to tell you, as soon as I read that, I kind of thought I made a mistake in joining the Republican Party. I joined, and listen, this is not a hard mistake for me to correct. I can literally go down my town hall and fix this in like 10 minutes. But I'm really starting to feel like I made a mistake joining the Republican Party. You want to know why? Because the Republican Party is weak, and the Republican Party votes for people who hate their own voters. And because this happened last night, on my Twitter feed this morning, I was greeted with all of these tweets from people saying, oh, Chris Sununu's not really that bad. He's got name recognition. He wants to teach our kids that they're racist, and we're, okay with that because he's got an R after his name. This one from this dude right here. And these are random people on Twitter, and I'm acknowledging that. I'm acknowledging Twitter is not real life, but we're going to get to a larger point in a second. Sununu is pretty popular. I think he can win. Sununu is extremely popular. It might keep Schumer from being the majority leader and controlling the agenda. So we now have a Republican Party who is willing to support critical goddamn race theory because, Chris Sununu's got an R next to his name. Oh, that's all that really matters because we vote for people who hate us. And then I saw this. Compromise sought on anti-critical race theory bill. Is it any wonder to you guys why you get walked over all the time? Maxine Waters very literally incited violence in Minneapolis a couple days ago. What did Nancy Pelosi do? She came out and said, I don't think she should have to apologize. What happens when Republicans try to prevent racism from being taught to people funded by state money? Their own party turns against them and said, well, this is really a free speech issue and we should really find a way to compromise with the Democrats. What the hell are you doing? Let's read this article. Compromise sought on anti-critical race theory bill. Republicans who have no balls in the state Senate are looking for a compromise with their House counterparts over the anti-critical race theory amendment contained in the proposed state budget. I hope we're willing to find an acceptable version of the language that people can buy into and we can move forward with, says Senator Jeb Bradley of Wolfsboro. Well, Jeb, if you vote against this bill, you don't deserve to be elected as a Republican. I'm sorry. And let's just, bring it up. Spoiler alert. I'm going to ask you to email Jeb as a part of this video and calmly explain to him why he is wrong about any sort of compromise. How these people get into elected positions, I have no goddamn idea. So Jeb's email is jeb.bradley@leg.state.nh.us. I will put this information in the description below, and we'll have another call to action about that a little later on. But let's read the rest of this article. Let's find out what Jeb is willing to compromise on, because Jeb apparently hasn't gotten the memo that he's considered to be a racist under this ideology. He hasn't gotten the memo that his kids are considered to be racist. He hasn't got the memo that his grandkids are considered to be racist. He hasn't got the memo this is being taught all over the state of New Hampshire. And they're just like, oh, free speech, compromise. I don't know why we're even discussing a compromise when children are being taught that they are racist when they are 5 goddamn years old. This is why Republicans always lose. Because you're weak. You are weak. If you believe there is any compromise in this scenario at all, if you are willing to compromise with your children and your grandchildren being taught to be ashamed of themselves for how they were born, you don't deserve to be in elected office. You don't deserve any sort of leadership position whatsoever. HB 2, the budget proposed approved by the House, includes language that bars the teaching of divisive concepts on race and gender. The amendment, which replaces HB 544, is seen as critical if the Senate and Governor Chris Sununu want to pass the budget. Keith Ammon from New Boston, one of HB 544's sponsors, says getting critical race theory banned is a priority for the House GOP. He said it prioritizes storytelling over historical facts and has been creeping into the state's education system for years. It's slowly embedding itself in our institutions and is doing it's doing it with very little pushback. And now, what little pushback we're finally able to muster, the Republicans are like, let's just cave and compromise because we need to be nice while they're taking over our institutions and teaching our children that they're racist. Last week, Representative Kyle Wheeler, House Finance Chair, warned the Senate that the ban on critical race theory was essential for the budget to pass. See, this was awesome. The Republicans in the House of New Hampshire, they have found their balls. They are not backing down on this. The ban on critical race theory is essential for the budget to pass. Weiler said the votes are simply not there if the Senate ditches the ban. Weiler considers critical race theory to be a Marxist, anti-American, anti-white program. And what he basically said in that letter last week was the House Finance Committee basically dared the Senate to take the bill out of the budget. And they basically said, if you take this out of the budget, we ain't going to pass your budget. We're not doing it. Don't screw with the bill. Bradley said people are worried about what is going on in schools, given that sometimes controversial ideas presented under the critical race theory umbrella. People are pretty concerned about kids being taught in schools how this made them feel guilty for being born that way. Then why are you compromising? Then why? You have the power position in the state of New Hampshire. Republicans control the House of Representatives. They control the Senate. They control the governorship. If you cannot pass a bill banning racism from being taught in schools in a state where you literally control everything, where you're talking about compromise. Like, dude, like, try not kissing Chris Sununu's ass quite so hard next time. Like, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Bradley added, people still need to be able to talk about racial inequities in society and in American history in general. Well, Jeb, if only you had read the goddamn bill. Yes, I am screaming. If only Jeb had read the actual bill, because in the text of the bill, which I've covered umpteen times on this channel, which I have bothered to read, and Senator Jeb Bradley has obviously not bothered to read, it literally says you can discuss these things. It says it in the goddamn bill. But no, we have to compromise. We have to compromise on language that's already in the bill. Critical race theory was developed in the 1970s, and it prioritizes narrative and storytelling over data. In some materials, it connects American racism with the signing of the Declaration of Independence. One of its best-known national advocates for critical race theory, Ibram X. Kendi, describes whiteness as inherently problematic to society and advocates discrimination as part of an anti-racism solution. Ammon's push to ban critical race theory has garnered plenty of opposition, including from Chris Sununu, who is running for Senate, and apparently everyone is just okay that a Republican wants to teach racism in schools. Oh, let's vote for him because he has an R next to his name because we're so weak-willed we don't demand better candidates. Has expressed worries about the free speech implications from the ban, obviously because he has not read the bill either, because it doesn't prohibit discussion of any of these topics. Last week, the New Hampshire Business and Industry Association, essentially a statewide chamber of commerce, came out squarely against the ban, saying it will hurt the economy. While the New Hampshire Business Association doesn't really know what it's talking about, because when critical race theory is taught in organizations, it actually is detrimental to the productivity of these organizations. So they have no effing clue what they are talking about. According to Jim Roach with the NHBIA, the proposed ban would halt discussions of race and gender inequality. Wrong? Among all state departments, educational institutions, and political subdivisions of the state, including cities and towns. Oh, great! We have another person, Jim, who has not read... Guys, the bill is 3 pages long. It is a 3-page long bill. Why none of you have read it, I have no goddamn idea. You can even go watch some of my previous videos on this topic because I will actually read the bill for you and help you interpret the bill. But it does not ban discussion of any topic. It says that you cannot present this as fact. The problem for Roche is that the ban would extend to private businesses that contract with the state. Oh, you mean private businesses that are getting paid with my taxes? You mean this ban would extend to what's being funded by my taxes? An estimated 1,000 businesses provide services to the state. Well, and they are welcome to continue doing that as long as they are not teaching that white people are racist because of the skin color in which they were born, or that men are inherently misogynistic because they were born men. Essentially, the language contains unnecessary restrictions on some private sector companies. Wrong! We cannot support language where the state is in a position to dictate to private companies what they can and cannot discuss with their employees. Well, those private companies are also under no obligation to do business with the state. Those private companies are under no obligation to get paid with my tax dollars, Jim. Amron responded by questioning if the NIBIA is going woke. He says his real concern, though, is that some sort of compromise the Senate will offer. Ammon is not interested in seeing the bill get watered down, noting conservatives have had enough of that kind of compromise because Keith Ammon is a goddamn hero. The visceral is Charlie Brown and Lucy with the football. Hey, we'll give you this. And then, whoop, we take it away. 100% correct. All right, folks, so what we need to do right now, our call to action is that we need to email Senator Jeb Bradley, because Senator Bradley, at bare minimum, needs to read the goddamn bill. But since he seems ill-inclined to do that, we can send him lots of very nice, not at all confrontational emails explaining to him why he is wrong and why he needs to support the language as is and stop compromising with people who hate him. Stop throwing his voters under the bus and supporting children, teaching their children that they're racist. So let's send Senator Jeb Bradley an email, jeb.bradley@leg.nh, or excuse me, it's a long goddamn email address, jeb.bradley@leg.state.nh.us. I'm going to put this in the description below because it's going to be a lot easier for you guys to copy and paste from there. That's all I've got for right now. I'll see you soon.